Today we're going to learn how to find images that we're allowed to use on Google. A lot of times we'll type in a search term, we'll go straight to Google and we'll type something in, such as Martin Luther King, and we hit enter, and then we click on images. And all of these images come up of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And a lot of times we think that we can just use any of these. We just right click and copy them and then paste them into our projects or reports. But actually what you want to do is you want to limit your search to only the images that you are allowed to use. Sometimes some of these images are owned by people and you need to either ask or pay for the rights to use them, which is a lot of trouble. So what we're going to do instead is, if this happens to you, if you search for images and you forget to set the settings, this little gear, you can click here and go down to advanced search. Once you do that, your search term is saved up here in the bar. And when you go down to the bottom, Google's default setting is not filtered by license, which means they're not taking out the images that we're not allowed to use. They're giving us all the images that they can come up with. So instead of this setting, the one that's the second from the bottom, free to use, share, or modify, those are images that we're allowed to use. So once this has changed, with Martin Luther King Jr. again here, I'm going to click advanced search and fewer images come up. But the advantage is that all of these images are ones that I'm allowed to use. They're either in the public domain, which means anyone can use them, or the people who own the rights are giving permission to use them in certain cases. So let's say I click on this first one and I see that this is Wikipedia. Now Wikipedia, the good thing about Wikipedia is that the images that you see there are those that they are allowed to use. Wikipedia does not own these images, but the ones that they use are ones that are allowable. You're allowed to use these. So if you click here, though, you have to dig a little further. If you click on the View Image button, which a lot of people will do, and they get a nice big image, you're allowed to use this, but when you're citing it, the link at the top is the Wikimedia link, and they aren't the owners of the image. So you need to do a little bit of digging and find out who actually has the rights to this. So I'm going to visit the page instead of viewing the image. And once I visit the page, then I see the Wikipedia article, and here's the image that I just saw. So I can't cite Wikipedia since they don't own this image. So I'm going to click through on this image that I want, and I do a little digging, and I find out that actually this comes from the Library of Congress. So I'm going to click on this link. Sometimes you have to click a few links, and I'll click the About This Item link. And here is where I find all the information that I will need when I'm citing the image. So I have the title of the image, I have the name of the person who was the photographer, I have the year in which it was made, and everything that I need is here. And the Library of Congress says that there is no copyright restriction known, which means that as far as they're concerned, nobody has claimed that this is their photo. So that means that anyone in the public domain can use it as long as we cite the source, which is all of this information here. So if you want to start off with a clean search right away, I went up to the gear to find that. But even before you begin, you can go down to settings way down here at the bottom. And I can also get to the advanced search that way. And then I can type in my search term. I have to go down and filter, and then I can go from there. So there's more than one way that you can get through. Just make sure that you change that search function, the choice, and you'll be good to go.